Republican Congressman Bill Johnson from Ohio, kind enough to join us as well from Capitol Hill. Good to see you, sir. I said a moment ago that the longest shutdown we've had is 21 days back in the 90s. We're going to have this big meeting, as you know, tomorrow. This is apparently what Sarah's going to be talking to us about at the White House. How long is too long this time around? Are we almost reaching that threshold from your point of view?
Well, you know, I certainly think, and I hope that our Democrat colleagues come to the table willing to negotiate. You know, yesterday in a White House briefing about the crisis on our border, the Secretary of Homeland Security could not even get through her briefing without being interrupted by Nancy Pelosi and just completely throwing the meeting into chaos, talking about they will not fund any more for border security. So the president's made it very clear.
Right.
Border security is a priority. House Republicans have made it clear. Senate Republicans have made it clear. So it all depends on whether or not they're going to come to the table tomorrow and negotiate in good faith.
As you know, Congressman, comes down to semantics, or at least it sounds like it does. Border security is said by one side, the wall by the other. What are you going to call it versus what are you going to give in on? As one of our guests, Adam Johnson, is with us today, pointed out, and many others have said the same, a deal here seems to be, let's have a trade. Let's get the money for that side of the equation, the wall and or border security. And in response to that, let's trade with something the Democrats want to have, and that's a DACA fix, some sort of a fix for these people who were brought here illegally as children. So I know that was talked about in the past, but now we're in the present. Is that eventually the deal that ends up getting this thing fixed?
Well, it certainly could be. And Republicans in the House have indicated and demonstrated that we're willing to talk about a DACA fix. In fact, last October, we had two pieces of legislation that came to the House floor, and we got virtually no support from our Democrat colleagues that would have solved the DACA problem, as well as provide the funding for the border. So, you know, it's going to be time for people to put politics aside and put the needs of our nation first if we're going to solve this problem.
Congressman, it's Melissa Francis. If I could ask you, one of your colleagues said on television earlier today that it is about that word wall, and that if you guys came up with some other euphemism that the president could point to later and say, that means wall. And Nancy Pelosi and her friends on the other side could point to and say, no, that means border security. It's not the wall. That something that simple could be a solution. Is that possible?
Well, you know, I'm a computer scientist, and semantics are important in things like this. And so maybe that's a part of the solution. I don't know. The president has made it very clear that what he's talking about is border security. House Republicans have made it very clear. We're talking about border security. A country without borders is not a country at all. And I think the president has made it clear that when he talks about the wall, he's talking about the complex structure, both government-wise, law enforcement-wise, and physical.
But you know that when everybody goes back to their corner, they start screaming wall, no wall. You know, I think we all, it's intellectually dishonest to say that we don't know that everybody's really talking about the same thing. It's a system of a bunch of stuff. But then when the sides go to their corners, it goes back to this silly argument. How do you solve that?
Well, and I'm not sure why that happens, Melissa, because when you're in the halls of Congress here, that's not the language that I hear. I don't know who's generating those talking points. I don't know why my Democrat colleagues keep going back to that one word that's throwing everything into chaos. You know, what I think we should do is clear the slate. Let's come back to the table and do what's in the best interest of the people of the United States. Let's secure our borders. Let's get the government open. That's why we passed legislation before Christmas that would have solved both these problems. Unfortunately, the Senate didn't see it that way.
All of this adding to uncertainty of financial markets. We look at it there, the Dow down 11.5% since the midterms. All right, Congressman, we'll move on for now, but thank you for joining us from Capitol Hill, Congressman Bill Johnson. We appreciate it.